and Sue. Don't know that I will, but until I can find me. Melinda was mine till the time that I found her, holding Jim, loving him. Then Sue came along, loved me strong, that's what I thought. Yeah, me and Sue, well, that died too. Don't know that I will, but until I can find me a girl who'll stay and won't play games behind me, I'll be what I am, solitary man, solitary man. I've had it to hear being where love's a small word, part-time thing, paper ring. I know it's been done having one girl who loves you, right or wrong, weak or strong. Don't know that I will, but until I can find me a girl who'll stay and won't play games behind me, I'll be what I am, a solitary man, solitary man. Well, I drove past your house last night and looked in your window. Lately I ain't been feeling right, and I don't know the cure, Lord. Still I can't keep from wondering if I still figure in your life. Would you take me back? Would you try me again? Let me take this out.
All right.
I got my earphone in. All right. What's that noise?
I'm in the car and I had to close the windows. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So,
everybody's waiting for you.
I apologize. Today is I'm at my younger daughter has a rare blood disorder, and I have to take her to the cancer center for her blood test, which is it's all good, but you have to keep on top of it. So her white blood count gets high. So that's today's. My wife is working, so I'm doing the doctor run today. When it rains, it pours, right? Just keep going.
Well, fingers, I can't give you a quote, unfortunately. There it is. It's up a penny, 130.
Well, again, if you look at it,
GBUX is down 43 pennies.
It's been under attack for days now. In GBUX, and it's interesting because I asked them why have a good gut feeling about trading, telling me this thing's going to rip because the amateurs always fall first. in the case of finger motion, we have Jeff Easton and some offshore friends there playing the game. And this one is this is a very small group of thugs that are doing this stuff. And this one, they're amateurs, is what they all say. So some people that I pitch on finger motion have been buying, they buy 10,000 finger motion, but they're buying 25,000 GBUX. Because GBUX has that sign, that look of a quick run.
It has that look. You can say that again. It has that look.
It definitely has a look that, it doesn't feel like we have a whale on a hook here. We have like a goldfish on a line here.
Right.
It's very different. It's a different feel. And professional people that I talk to, they make that determination themselves, and they tell me. And I sort of agree with them. Finger motion has to finish these guys off themselves, which I believe they are. Finger motion, I think the dividend's coming out. Martin was just with people who he just told it to, He just told people that the dividend is coming and the earnings are coming and things are taking off and their business is starting to increase. And whatever's going on in the United States is not happening in China. William, someone put up the other day a young kid walking into a supermarket or something in China, and he didn't even have his phone. He used his hand to actually, I guess I don't know how they did it.
Well, Amazon's doing that here, where you walk in with your palm print. Next thing, it'll be an eyeball. And the next thing is we won't be able to buy drugs on the corner with a wad of cash.
Well, that's the funny thing, is that ticket scalping went out the window. And I had a great story. I have a friend who was, I told everybody his story. He was a naked short seller. He stole a lot of money, and he owed me $30,000. He paid me back, and he popped up as a short seller. I never told him what I was doing. I just didn't say anything to the guy. But he had NIXX tickets, and I was sitting in his office in Soho, and the NIXX cheerleaders came up and brought him his tickets in a wooden box, like they deliver them, because that's how expensive these stupid things are. But his tickets were that when you looked at the game on TV, you could actually see him sitting on the first row, like with Spike Lee on the sidelines. So when he used to give me the tickets, all I ever wanted to do was sell them. They were $5,000 each. But I couldn't do it because he would know I wasn't at the game, and I hated going. But I take someone who would want to see basketball. I took him to the game only because I would never spend $5,000 on a ticket. But just shows you, here's a guy who I knew, who was a naked short seller, living the life of Riley, buying $10,000 basketball tickets, running around with an American Express black card. He used to drop the card, and it was metal. The American Express black card is like metal, so when it drops, it sounds like
he took $280 million out of a silver company.
It was a silver company. That is correct.
Just by selling stock that didn't exist.
He asked me what I was doing. I said, I didn't want to rain on this parade. And I didn't want to get involved. I don't know who he's working for. I didn't get into it. But he got busted. The SEC caught him. And he lost a good portion of what he had. And he's no longer in the business. And he doesn't get those tickets anymore. And, that's what happens to all of them. They're going to get busted. And Jeff Easton's going to get his. Only his is going to be worse. Because Jeff Easton is going to lose it when the stocks go up. He's going to get arrested for fraud.
Jeff is hidden all the money, and he trusts everybody. Jeff does. He doesn't overly try to control and oversee the money flows. So I'm sure the feds can't find anything that will link Jeff Easton to his crimes.
Well, there's always a paper trail. They always make a mistake. They always think they're bigger and better and stronger than everyone else. That always happens. Every criminal, they always get caught. I'm not going to get caught. Not going to get caught. They always get caught. That's why you see all those crime shows on television. They always get caught, right?
Boom, boom.
They just don't know how to stop, and they think it's going to last forever. With this crime of naked short selling, I am abusing. Listen, I wanted Trump to be in office to make the country safe again. That's what my main thing was. As long as it's safe, we can always survive. But I'm sick and tired of his whole crew, from Charlie Kirk to Alex Jones to this idiot to Laura Loomer, whatever her whole name is, all bragging and trying to, bragging about Trump. Enough. Settle the goddamn trades. I don't want to hear any more about the election fraud. It's over with. He was robbed. We all know it. No one gives a shit. He's not going to be the president. He's going to be the president another 3.5 years, and he's going to be gone. He's old. It's not coming back again. So move on. Clean up the country. Settle the goddamn trades. And I don't give a shit about Kid Rock, Charlie Kirk, all these guys bragging and pitching people. Enough of this nonsense. If they can't fix the stock market, all this stuff makes no sense anyway. All right? We're all going to be safe, but we're all going to be broke. We're all going to be slaves. You can't enjoy. You can't have any extra money. You're never going to make a big hit in the markets. You're never going to make anything. But when the market crashes, it drags down the home prices. You can't even make money selling your homes. I mean, it's just a downward spiral all over the place. And I just can't believe that nothing's happening. No one's even saying boo about it. Devin Nunes I've thrown under the bus. I've thrown everybody under. Kid Rock under the bus. Laura Loomer, the Magna Voice, what is that guy's name? Steve Bannon. Alex, whatever his name is. Alex Jones, whatever his name is. I forgot his name. All these people. Enough. I'm tired of the Trump. He's in office. He's the president. Let him do what the hell he's got to do. Let's move on. Let's fix things. Who gives a shit about Ukraine? We have nothing to do with it. Stop sending them the money and let them figure it out. Let the Europeans figure it out. That's not our problems. Our roads got potholes in it. We can't even fix those goddamn things. This country's got to come first. Anyway, moving on. South Africa, William, has come out today and is banning naked short selling. Well, I put up a nice little quote on Twitter and saying that they're banning naked short selling, but you can still kill white people. That's okay. So South Africa's got its own little problems, but they jumped into the fray and stopped the naked short selling in South Africa. I said it as a joke and jest, but, they killed those white farmers in South Africa, but yet they came out and they're worried about naked short selling, which is interesting. In the U.S., it's the complete opposite. Trump doesn't even say anything about it. Every country's saying it. If they're saying it, that means it's very deadly for everybody. Companies are getting wiped out. People are losing their jobs. All their investments are getting crushed. And they view it as something that needs to save their economies. And over here, we have a bunch of buffoons that are not doing anything. William, I don't know if this new guy, Atkins, got in. He was confirmed. Was he have the sworn in? I don't know. But it's been so quiet. I never even heard the guy make a statement.
Yeah.
Did he say, I do, I will? I don't know what the hell he's supposed to say. He hasn't said anything. Devin Nunes has disappeared. All these people have disappeared. We got Kid Rock with scalpers. We're glad we got that done. I told him put his Superman costume back on and get back up there and pitch Trump about naked short selling.
Atkins was confirmed.
Was he sworn in? Is that confirmed? The same shit? I don't know.
I have no idea.
Is that the same thing?
I think everything's going to change. It's going to be remarkable when he comes in.
Well, again, I'm hearing it again from someone that was a former White House advisor. I posted it up. I forgot what his title was. That's who's telling us it's May 12th. I posted it. It's I don't know if it's an advisor, a former White House advisor. He's the one saying it. That's the one who told my friend. I don't know who the gentleman is. I don't know.
I agree with Jersey Sue. If we don't fix elections, We won't have a country. Fix elections and settle the trades.
Well, we fixed the elections.
They're not fixed yet.
No.
They gotta get that bill through the Senate, but I'm sure the Democrats are for citizens voting.
No, the funniest thing about the Democrats is they're fighting over that guy, the MS-13 guy from Maryland that they threw out of the country. Like, who's wasting their time defending that? The guy's a criminal. He belongs to a gang member. The U.S. government tossed him out, and they want him back. I mean, who's wasting their time about that? Give me a break. There's too many small little fights that go on. And all we need to do is, listen, everyone on this phone, if they settle the trades, will be making a lot of money. And when you make a lot of money, you're gonna fix your house, you're gonna go on vacation, your kids, your life is gonna change. I don't care if you make $20,000 and it helps buy you a car or get you a new barbecue, which I need one. Anything. It helps. And right now, we're all kind of stuck in neutral, waiting for this to happen. I'm just as neutral as you are. All right? And I'm waiting like you are. And it doesn't make a difference what stock we pick, what we look at. I looked at DJT, it was 35, it's 19 or 20, whatever it is. Right? All the stocks go down. They have nothing to do with each other. Rumble has nothing to do with DJT. DJT has nothing to do with CELU. CELU's got nothing to do with TLRY or Peloton or Beyond Meats. They're all different. But every CEO is the CEO, the proud CEO of a dollar stock. All of them are $1, $2, whatever it is.
Temporarily.
Right. Everyone has the worst business plans in creation. The only ones with a good business plan is NVIDIA. That's it.
The only one with a good business plan is the day trader of Yahoo.
Right, Jeff Easton, yes. He knows it all.
Atkins was confirmed April 9th, according to Al Todaro.
He's never said a statement. Has anyone seen a statement from him?
He's automatically, I don't know about the swearing in, but it's not elaborate because Gensler resigned. So his term only runs through June of next year, which I actually think could be a positive because he could go down in flames. But I don't think that. I think Atkins is part of the problem. He was there before, but call me skeptical.
He was there from 2004 to 2008, I think, or something.
Yeah,
like that.
He put in, as far as I know, he designed Reg's show. So I guess he knows the problem. And he can see that they just expanded it under Reg Show. But I don't know. All we can do is hope.
Listen, the best news we ever had was when they started to attack Trump. Now the short sellers are laughing and they're actually posting that they're shorting his stock. I'm laughing about that.
GBUX is down to 4. Somebody here is saying, David is saying, here's another bear raid on GBUX, 404.
They've been raiding it for days. Again, I told you, listen, if you were paying attention to GBUX, they just did a bear raid down to $1.70 not too long ago, and it bounced back up to 10. I've always said, buy them when they don't want them. They're giving it to you. So, that's up to you to make that determination. Listen, I think I stood tall. I bought 10,000 at 75 cents. It went to 10. I didn't sell a share. Pulled back down. I don't have any more money, but it went back up to 10 again. I didn't sell a share. So I could have made 100,000 twice or 150,000. I didn't sell it because A, I'm a man of my word, and B, I believe it's going higher. I don't want people saying, "Oh, you bought it, you sold it to me. I bought it." I don't do that. All right. So again, I believe this one. It's coming from strong people. It's coming out of Goldman Sachs, and you know what? I'm going to stay with it. So you do what you want to do. And the manipulation of 100 shares, pushing it down, it's 3 million shares that are short. Where are they pushing it to? They got to cover back 3 million shares. Most of the shares today were bought by people I know. When you finish buying 3,000 or 2,000, they mark it down. They sell 100 shares to market lower. And I'm sure if you look at it, they probably marked 100 shares at 40, whatever it is, 405, whatever you just said. 403.
412 now.
Right. Whatever they did, it's just the same nonsense. Hey, listen, if you look at it, Root, which I followed, and I remember every trade about it, went from 27 to 90 cents. 90 cents reversed to 25. They did a 25 for one reverse. Went back up to 25. It went down to 6. Then the company came out with a positive statement, and it went from 6 to $181. So the manipulation that I see, if you believe in the company, it's going to turn. This is a manipulation just to get you to sell. That's what's going on. That's it. There's nothing else I can say. Whatever the company says, they sell, 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 sell. Same thing happened in Finger Motion. The same thing happened in GTII. The same thing happened everywhere. Any company. Good news, sell. No matter what it is. They don't even read the news. Again, if you had a brain, I should be a short seller. Let them, if the people want to buy it, let them take it up higher. I'll sell it at 20. What do I care? They can't sell it at 20 because they don't have any money. They move it down because they have margin problems. They can't afford to hold these positions. So they hold them down. Mark it down. Hurry up. Sell 100 shares at 403. They must turn to each other. You realize that we get $400 for this? That's all we're going to get out of this sale? $100? Yeah, but we're marking it lower. Our prime broker won't yell at us anymore. That's what they're saying. That's all it is. And when it turns, it's going to turn fast on them. It did it 3 times already. Finger motion to me is super interesting because it's stuck at this number, right? $1.30, whatever it is.
$1.29.
It's stuck in this area. What does that tell me? That tells me there's a big player here who keeps scooping it up. And soon, that big player is going to turn it up. Okay? This is how the funds do it. I know we all want to see a fund come in and just take it to the moon and take it up 20. But doing that sort of nonsense, if a fund doesn't have a position, they're only doing it to help you. And they really don't give a shit about us. That's not how they are. If you ever executed an order for a big fund, you would know exactly what I'm talking about because I've done it. You have to do the buy orders have to be for the benefit of the fund that's buying it. Because they have to answer to their clients. Hey, why did you buy this stock up 30 and then watch it go down 20? Versus, hey, why didn't you just buy it all in a $3 range? Why did you force the issue? So that's what they don't do. They don't force the issue. They sit there and they accumulate it at the low levels and they make it profitable for themselves. That's what they do. No one's here to help you. If you want to go along for the ride, you have to spot these guys. Fidelity and these big funds, they can't even buy stocks. they manage so much money, they can't get in without moving the markets in them. So when they get a new name like this, they're trying to be gentle about it before they move a market. And that's what I think we're seeing in that name anyway. Do you have any questions, William?
On Finger,
Good.
how many total shares exist in the float, the short, the long? How many are in the naked short? Could there be more than 250 million long?
I stopped at 250 a while ago. There's no reason to add another number to that. It's so massive. It's if you look at it, how come Finger Motion's the only name that can never move up a little bit? Don't you find that? Anyone find that compelling? How come this stock DJT pops up every once in a while up $1? This one is because Finger Motion, they're deathly afraid because once it gets momentum, they're going to get wiped out. That's why the stock never moves and they hold it down. And the more they hold it down here, the short gets bigger. So 250 million shares of naked short. If you just add, 100 a week is 400 a month. Every 2 months is 800, almost 1 million shares. That number goes up quickly. Imagine, more than that. Instead of 20,000 a day, they're doing, 50,000. It's 250. It's 1 million a month. These numbers go up super fast.
So could there's naked shorts, but this guy's question, but that implies there's that many shares long, whether they're counterfeit or not, real or not.
That is correct.
So can the sale of the long stop the short squeeze?
Of course, that's what they want you to do. That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm responsible for 40 million shares of Finger Motion. Okay? So I have a lot of responsibility on me. All right? I got big guns in here. They're not going to keep buying. They go, why don't they just keep buying it? Because they already own it. The people in Asia own the whole company. And everybody over here. So just think about it. Whatever the float is, I think it's 20 million, and there's only 60 million in the whole company. That's all taken. That's all gone. Asia owns that. Probably more. Asia owns. I'll say Asia owns 100 million. And the balance is on this side. I have people reaching out to me from London. My friend Joseph in London. Him and his friends own 3 million shares. All right, there's people all over Europe that own it. Okay? It's just the numbers are massive. So I stopped at 250. What's the big deal? We got 2.5 million real shorts. Someone's borrowing the shares. I've told everybody anybody who wants to help out Finger Motion, just call your broker up and demand that they make sure that they're not lending your shares out. Because when you open an account, they automatically enroll you into stock lending. They borrow your shares without you even knowing about it. So please make the call. The guy that's short 2.5 million shares, if he can't borrow it, he's got to buy the stock back. So put a little heat on him. That's it. Doesn't hurt. Hey, William, last night I didn't have a pot gummy, so I had to go to a friend. He gave me one of his, and it was a little stronger. I woke up, I was still high today. That's how strong it was. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Grandpa started a drug ring.
My wife got up. I was with the dogs at 5 o'clock in the morning. She goes, "You're still high?" I go, "I think so." I don't even know.
Next thing you'll have a bong.
Hey, you know what? If you can't beat them, join them, I guess. I never did a drug, so I've been using it to sleep. But every once in a while, I guess you get a stronger one, and it kind of sends you for a loop.
I didn't do drugs. Women were enough.
Any other questions? Yeah, so the whole short is spoken for. If the stock goes to $1.50 and all my friends start selling it at $1.50, yes, we could stop the upside. But the education and everyone believing that this company is going to do great things, which I believe they are, there's no rush. There's not even any volume anymore.
Everything is a lie.
Listen, people, everyone on this call, if you have any beef and you're pissed off like we are, call the SEC up. Say, just ask them and say, okay, what is the naked short in this stock? That's all you have to say. Give us the information. If you can get it, let me know. Listen, we're all wrong about many things. I know I'm right here, but I could be wrong. Let's see, get the information. So before you get pissy at us, call the SEC up. Just look what they're doing to the MMTO people. Look what they're doing to Donald Trump's company. Donald Trump's company has 1 billion shares short. Kodak has 1 billion shares. Elon Musk has over 1 billion shares. I told William about a cancer company that I just bumped into that needs help. 1 billion shares. Everyone's short. These numbers are massive. I remember a company, Charlie Eddie Indian. The shorts put it out of business. It was trading over 1 billion shares a day. Imagine being short 1 billion shares. It squeezed to 5. Imagine being short just 1 billion shares at $3. I'm not saying 5. I'm not saying 2. I'm picking a number in the middle, 3. Even make it 2. I'll go on the low end. The guy walked away making $2 billion when they put that company out of business. And the CEO didn't want to listen to me and do a dividend. I begged him. And I had shareholders that knew the guy who had big positions, wanted him to do it, and he didn't do it. And now it's gone, 0. So the numbers are massive. These players that we talk about, they can't sell Tesla or NVIDIA, because why wouldn't you just go do $1,000 stock like Costco or Netflix? Because they don't have the capital to do it to those stocks. And institutions that are buying those stocks, once the stocks drop down and the fundamentals have a value higher, these guys will support the stock. In Finger Motion or GBUX, they don't have the institutional ownership. There's no one here to support it. So it's a different game. What else we got, William?
How will GBUX turn up huge?
They will. The attack will stop. It'll start to gain momentum, and the momentum players will come in and drive it higher like they did the last couple of times. Or we can get someone, a magician, and wave a wand, and it'll go up. They all go up the same way.
Finger has 160 grand in cash and almost 2 million in debt. Do you think they can do an offering again?
What was that?
Yahoo says Finger has $164,600 in cash.
So Finger Motion just got $5 million in cash. What'd they do? Lose it in Las Vegas?
It's not gone till the wheel spins.
Finger Motion took $5 million and just put it on roulette.
Do you think
those numbers are wrong?
Do you think Finger will be doing an offering again?
Yes, I do. I think Finger Motion is going to do an offering with a major company. I've been telling you, we've been hearing that Alibaba's taking a stake. So if Alibaba takes a 10% stake, they'll pay Finger Motion for the shares. That's the offering that I think is going to happen. Would that be a bad offering if it happened?
Comes down to price.
Well,
Alibaba is controlled by BlackRock, who runs Anson funds. I'm making it up. I just made that up.
I've been telling you, we're hearing out of Hong Kong that the companies had high-level meetings with a major company. So we've been hearing Alibaba. That's what I can't tell you to confirm it. I live in New York. I don't live in Hong Kong. People, my opinion of finger motion, it is lights out. I'm probably the biggest bull in the stock. I met the people. This company came from nowhere. It was a small cap. It went to the NASDAQ. It's been moving. Everything is going up. They're getting contracts. Once those contracts take hold and they start to drive revenue, it's going to be like a Root, where all of a sudden, Root is just going to go. But unlike Root, this one has 250 million shares short. The people in Asia always told me the stock's going to 100. So we know they're not selling. My people aren't selling. So who's selling? You're going to sell your 10,000 shares? You think you're going to change the game? Wait to see when the company gets momentum and starts going, the people are buying it. Just like in GameStop, all the people will front run the short trying to cover. That's the Wall Street game. Wall Street is notorious. It's called front running. If the SEC is listening, everyone does it. Jeff Easton would front run his own mother trying to cover.
He's a good guy, Jeff Easton. I don't like to hear you disparage him.
And well, he could just show up anytime if he wants to have a conversation. We are willing to sit down and negotiate with him.
He's one good man.
Mm-hmm. He's one good man that likes to hide.
Yeah, and he's got an office.
You know they're tied to the Anson Fund. How about that story Christian Shaughnessy put up about the Anson Fund, William, trying to hack that market fraud site?
I didn't know that.
Oh my God, you got to read it. They were sending messages in the dark web, trying to get people to hack the market site, that market fraud site, that online that keeps reporting on them. And they were getting people from these European countries like the Ukraine or whatever. And they didn't pay them. And those people are now showing all the conversations they had with the Anson Fund. You got to go and look at it. It's amazing. Because they're getting exposed for that market fraud site, and they needed to shut it down, and they were trying to hack into that site. Unbelievable. Where is the DOJ? These guys are pure criminals. Unbelievable.
Yeah, we're fighting the cabal, the one world swamp.
Think about how we're fighting people from offshore, from Germany, from the Cayman Islands, from this place and that. Who allowing them to come into the United States and steal everybody's money? Who's behind it? Is it Nancy Pelosi doing it? Is it Elizabeth Warren? Is it Donald? Who's doing it? I don't know. Who's the wizard? I don't know who the wizards are. We all know the crime. Just remarkable. What else we got, William?
What could be the problem with Atkins not sworn in yet?
I don't know where the fuck he is.
I don't think it
Listen,
matters.
if he gets in, at least we can address him. I don't even know where he is. Did he die? I don't have no idea. I've never heard boo about this guy. Zero.
Gerald is asking you, I'm a little confused what he's asking. Where can I find that Answer Fund article? Oh, Anson Fund article.
Anson Fund.
That's at Market Fraud. I have it here, Nat. I think I have a copy of it here.
If you go on, it's got that big code.
Yeah,
and I retweeted it. Christian Shaughnessy retweeted it. It's all there. And it talks about them trying to hack the site.
I should be able to find it for you, Gerald. I might have misplaced that copy. Anyway, I can find it. I'll look it up online here. I don't know how to Google it. Anson.
Just go to my Twitter. Go to Twitter. It's right there.
Anson. Oh, there it is. There it is, Gerald. It's a lot of articles, but you go to, I'll show you one, like here. There's one of the articles, but you see all in the orange, there's a bunch of them, and there's the website, there's the address.
Do you see the last one, William? The one about the hacking the thing?
It's marketfrauds.to, 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 marketfrauds.to. And they have the MMTLP story. There's a total of 8 stories right now.
It's just a hotbed of fraud, and everybody knows about it. The DOJ's on their back, and yet they're not in handcuffs and in jail yet. They put away billionaires all the time. There's another Canadian billionaire. There's throw him in jail. The Canadians are a hotbed of making short selling. They have been for a long time. They've been looting the U.S. for a long time. Before it spread to offshore, everything was going U.S. to Canada, back in. There was a guy, Stephen Hicks, out of Connecticut, was doing it for a long time. If you Google him, he walks out with a sailor hat.
I mean, gosh, this is amazing. Anson has been investigated for years now. We are shocked at the complete disregard they've shown for the law. Now credible sources are telling us that the SEC will be pressing additional charges in a matter of months. We don't know the extent, but it's the tip of the iceberg, and the charges will be severe. They hire Legion Partners. Anson Funds invests $1.6 billion. And I swear, I bet he started out of his kitchen in his last night's shorts. That guy started with nothing, and I was a billionaire. Hired as senior executive from an activist investor, Legion Partners, to build its shareholder activism strategy. Anson has returned an average of 15% after fees every year since its launch in 2007.
Right.
So if they're giving their clients 15%, imagine what they're keeping for themselves.
Right. And it's right there. It's not like we're making it up. Everybody knows about it. It's a naked short hotbed, that whole place.
We talked to the, sorry, go on, sorry.
They were paying Andrew Left, Hindenburg, to write short and distort. Why are they paying short and distort if they're such good short sellers and the fundamentals are bad? Is because they need to make fast returns. They get over leveraged, they sell too many shares short, and if it goes up, they get wiped out. So they have to attack it quick. So if you sell 5 million shares of a stock short, and if, God forbid, it goes up, they lose so much money, it'll wipe them out. So they have to pay to get the short, distort, knock it down, and lock in those gains before it goes the other way. That's what's going on. Wait a second, that looks just like GBUX. Stock's going up, hurry up, knock it down. We're going to get crushed. So they gave them the leverage, and someone's helping them, and they're knocking it down. That's it. If it was a real short, they'd let it levitate. Let it go to 10, 12, 13. Who cares? Remarkable. I'm on a New York City street, and three 20-something-year-old kids riding skateboards on First Avenue in and out of traffic. I'm like, these guys are like, they need jobs. Instead, they're riding skateboards around the street with no helmets. And William, I knew of a kid who rode a skateboard, fell backwards, hit his head on the curb, and died. It's just horrible, the stuff that goes on. And, you know, whenever I see a little kid, I always tell them, make sure to wear a helmet. I tell the parents. I turned into a fuddy-duddy. What can I tell you?
Well,
what else we got, William? Let's go.
Whenever I see you, I tell you to wear a toupee. I guess it's the same thing.
Same thing. I'm going to get an iron plate toupee. Listen, when my wife was away, I shaved my head with the dog clippers. I'm sure that came out great, right?
No one looks anymore. I need a haircut. But
when I go past people now, they give me change.
not really. Not really any other questions.
All right, listen, people, I'm trying my best. This is at the level of the President of the United States. I 100% believe he's going to do it. I'm trying to embarrass him. I'm trying to embarrass Devin Nunes, Charlie Kirk, Alex Jones, Sean Hannity, Mark Levin, Victor Davis Hanson, Laura Luna. And Laura Luna, if anybody knows her, she's out here bragging like anyone gives a fuck about her. She's a reporter. No one gives a shit. Expose the frauds and you get your medals. She posted the other day, I called this right. I wrote to her, who gives a shit what you're saying? You called it right.
She's semi-good looking.
I couldn't give a shit what she is.
I've heard all
Do
about
your fraud reporting. Reporters like to report and get medals for what they expose. The bigger they expose, the more medals they get. That's what they're about. Now they're out here barking that they're right. I'm right. Who's right? No one cares. I could care less. Report the fraud. That's all I ask them to do. If they can't do it, every time they write something stupid, I'm going to address her. No one cares. Charlie Kirk teaching all those young kids about Republicans and this and that. Meanwhile, they're all going to be robbed. All the money they make, their pensions, everything's going to be robbed. But they don't have the balls to teach them that. I do. No one else does. And I got people on this phone. I know you're invested. I know a lot of people are top heavy, are fully invested. I'm top heavy. I got it. And that's why I'm not going away until we get this done. William, if it would help, I would go walk around and hand out more literature in D.C. But I think they're all retarded. From Elizabeth Warren to AOC, they're all fucking mentally challenged. They're all idiots. The only thing I can think about is these people have stolen so much money that they don't even care. They're afraid of getting caught. How do all these people become wealthy, right? They're all super wealthy, making $20 million in their bank accounts from working in D.C. How's that happen? I don't know how the government's not just moving along quickly. We're going to investigate those people? Investigate them. End the conversation. Next. We have enough people in the FBI and DOJ. Hire fucking 50 detectives and go get them. If they did something wrong, arrest them. If they didn't, let them go. End the conversation. I don't understand how it takes so long to do anything. I can tell you one thing. They were quick when they went after Trump, right? Got people breaking his door down, going through his wife's underwear. Now everything's to a standstill. They're fighting us because they deported a MS-13 gang member out of Maryland. These people cut people's heads off. Are you kidding me? I don't even know why they should just put them on a plane and throw them in the ocean. Put them in a prison. Just kill them all. What else we got, William? Nothing else? You want me to look? DJT's up $1. I knew that was going to happen once the short acknowledged that they were short the stock. Meanwhile, VIRT goes up every day. It's $38.52. If you look at the institutional holders in that name, it sounds like those are all the bad players. They all own that stock. I looked at it before. I can't remember off the top of my head, but that stock never gets sold off, no matter what happens. It's always there. Goldman Sachs, great earnings. Of course they got great earnings. They were probably short gold, silver, whatever it was, and the market downturn, they were just covering, locking in those profits, right?
Right.
How does Goldman Sachs make all their money? Stock loan. We all know it's 75% of their income. If no one's going public, we know it's not IPOs. Where are they making all their money from?
So if you had news on, say, ZJYL and GDC, would you hide it from us?
Would I hide it from you? Why would I?
Empire Corp wants to know if there's any news on ZJYL.
If I hear it, I will tell you immediately. ZJYL has always been something very curious for me because they did the opposite of everyone else. They did a 20-for-1 forward split. So the big players in that stock who had a $300 stock, why would they forward split it and to sell it at 50 cents or whatever it is, 60 cents? Doesn't make any sense. They had a $300 stock. I never would have forward split it and kept that stock choking the shorts up there, right?
Right.
So they forward split it so they all make no money. Or did they forward split it to get more shares? And when it's ready, they will come out of the woodwork and jam it again. That's what I think is going to happen. I just don't know the timing of it, when they're going to do it.
Right.
Their move was very interesting is why I talk about it.
Robert Kepke and many others wish you and your family well, your nephew. I
appreciate it. I'm just getting run over at this time, but life goes on. You got to stand tall. You got to keep fighting. You don't quit. I can't quit. I'm here for my family, and I consider everybody here who listens, that believes in us, as a family, and I won't give up on you. I will never give up on you. You can hate me, do whatever you like, but I will never give up on you. I said the same nonsense that you're hearing now for 25 years, and I believe it's coming to a head. I've never felt like this before. We're at the highest level, and for these idiots to attack Trump stock where Devin Nunes put his foot in his mouth, telling everybody about naked short selling, and then disappears and goes quiet? Something's up. He must have been told to shut his mouth because there's an investigation going on. I put it up before. I put up all the videos. I put up all the quotes. I can't post anymore. I don't even know what to say anymore. People are sending me great stuff, you know, and I just put it up. Susan Trimbath, her little soundbite. This one soundbite. Everybody soundbite. What the hell that means? Check the receipt. I just, you know, there's so many things that I put up, and they're all sound bites from the people at the top level. Susan Trimbath, Devin Nunes, President Trump, everybody, Elon Musk, everybody. So in GBUX, they got a new market maker, AEXG. I remember that name from somewhere else. I think they dropped in on GTII a long time ago. Apple, Eddie, X-Ray, George. New market maker. If someone can post that up on Twitter for me, I'm not around right now, just with their name. So I think it's Axis. I can't remember the name of it. I can't remember what it was called. Yeah, hurry up. I'm going to drop into AEXG. That's a short seller. They use multiple market makers because they think that everyone on this phone call is an idiot and we can't figure it out. Market makers join stocks because they're being paid by a short seller to go make a market for them. A market maker is not your friend. If I called up AEXG and say, can you make a market and finger motion to me? They'll say, fuck you. I ain't doing it. What are you paying me? I'm not doing anything. Why? What are you going to give me? That's the exact language you would get. And here's a small company getting new market makers. The short seller is putting the market makers in. And I'm very, very well versed on the market maker manipulation of shuffling new guys in. And I always told the story. I remember, you know, when I was part of a public company, we had over 70 naked short market makers. Every day we got a new one came in. And guess what they all did? When they came into the stock,
they sold.
They went to the low offer and they were the seller. And the first day was a market maker with an A. The next day was a market maker with a B, then a C, then a D. They just keep dropping in. And you say, boy, all these sellers, they go to a new firm every day. They never buy any. How are they selling? Well, someone with a DVP account, delivery versus payment account, will go out and give orders to anybody they like. And that's how they do it. They hide their names. That's what they're trying to do. So there's more guilt for you right there. Remember, these market makers have no money behind them. They're broke. So they're only executing orders.
Sounds like us.
The fat guy from Morgan Stanley broker, the guy who works at Share and Tell. I sold stock every day. Why did I do it? I got commission.
He was one stylish guy.
I made money every day because my firm allowed me to do it. I got paid a commission.
Execution Group.
Right. Yeah.
I interrupted your quoting of.
No, I understand. I know it is. They dropped in. No sell orders. They never were here. They never bought a share. And they go right to the sell side. Oh, we're a seller. Okay, great. That's great. And William, just to lighten the mood, I was playing pickleball the other day. I hit a guy right in his private parts. So hard he dropped to his knees. That was a good shot.
Now I rang the bell. Sings in C.
The girl I was playing with, she hung out. She said she couldn't believe it. I said, she knocked that guy right down. And I got these new cough drops, Manuka honey cough drops. A friend of mine got them for me. Manuka honey drops from, she got it at Whole Foods. They're very good.
Swell.
I don't know. What am I going to say? Little battles, you keep winning. That's all you can do. Nothing else, people? Come on, ask away. My doctor's appointment's at 4, so I got another 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Thank God. I mean, thank God you have a doctor's.
Not me, my daughter.
Oh, your daughter.
Yeah. Thank you for Tinted Veil on Twitter. It gives me the market makers. So at 412 is ASCM. 415 is OTCN. Those are the same people. INTL is another bad one. And at 424 is AEXG. I can guarantee you tomorrow AEXG will be the low offer and all these other characters will move back. And there's your answer on the new market makers. That's it, William. No one's got anything to say?
Peter says to you, Peter says that Peter Sachs, I'm sorry for the loss in Ham's family. Thank you for tirelessly fighting for us and with us.
Peter, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And like I said, I started out fighting for my family, and the family's just grown through all these investors. I've helped many people make a lot of money, and they move on. You know, when GTI went from 60 cents to $9, people made money, moved on, never heard from them again. They were fighting, yelling, screaming. Once the stock went, never heard from them again. Finger Motion went from $1 to 10. Same thing, you lose some people. And my only words to everyone is that, you know what, when you're fighting a battle, if you lose this battle, you're going to lose, your kids are going to lose, your grandkids are going to go, everybody. If I had a couple of $1 million in my pocket right now, I'd be doing the same thing. As you get older, people, you don't really need a lot of things. I got my pickleball paddle, I got my sneakers, I go play ball. All right? I'm not a drinker. I don't do drugs. I don't need to wear suits and ties anymore. You really don't need it. I'm not buying a jet plane. If I had $1 billion, I wouldn't buy a plane. You know, I don't buy, I'm not a boat guy. I don't do this. So so at some point you got to stand up and fight for something. I'm not military age. I can't go to war. All right. So I can't defend the country, but I can do it with my voice. And that's what I'm trying to do. And if I don't stop this crime, guys like Jeff Easton and these other scumbags, like the guy from ASCM and all these market makers, they're all criminals. I don't know how they don't flush the toilet and get rid of all of them. I don't know how. They've been stealing for so long. No one has any talent that you're talking to. Zero. All those market makers in GBUX are being orchestrated by a hedge fund offshore through the Caymans called Black Tower, giving orders to different people. That's it. And they're trying to shake it up because it's so easy to see ASCM there as the low offer every day. Is ASCM, they own all the shares? I don't see a filing that they own all the shares. Where are they coming from? That they sell every day. Right? Yet they're here. So what they do, they change it up. And they want to confuse everybody on this phone. And for those who don't understand what I'm talking about, in the over-the-counter market, there's market makers. They all have a symbol, whether it's PUMA, ASCM, AEXG, whatever it may be. And they're just little scumbags that sit around. They got no order flow because there's no brokerage. Merrill Lynch, his brokerage firm was AEXG. If Merrill Lynch buys a stock, you expect AXEG to buy it. And when they sell it, AXEG would be the seller. So you can actually see how these firms operate. But if there's no retail firm behind it, where is the stock coming from? Well, it's coming out of thin air. They're naked shorting it for somebody. That's it. It's pretty easy to see.
They call the wind Mariah. Maria has just pointed out that Citadel, and I told everybody here two things. I said Ken Griffin, and I said that the Fed is going to bail Griffin out, and people couldn't believe me. But I also pointed out that the guy is greedy as hell. They quote these, what do you call it? These basis trades, treasury basis trades. They leverage it 5 to 1, 10 to 1. Baloney. He probably went out 50 to 1, 100 to 1. Why stop? He's as greedy as they come. Anyway, Maria just said that Citadel reported $2 trillion in gross derivative exposure, $2 trillion. But also remember all the at the market. Whenever Jeff Easton or JP Morgan or Roth Capital comes in with an at the market financing, it's all derivatives. It's all derivatives.
That's all it is.
It says, quote, the company has concentration with risk with respect to its derivative. I'm missing the rest of it. But anyway,
they're over leveraged. We all know it. They're all over leveraged.
Short selling. Yeah.
And that's the problem. Is Trump's probably looking at this saying, okay, once we call this in, we set off a chain of explosions. Boom, boom, boom.
Well, that's
boom,
why I know probably you and I disagree, but I keep suggesting that what Trump should just focus on, take over the over-the-counter market and the NASDAQ market. Make them a government organization. They don't need to be public. Make it a career. Make it a cabinet position to run these two markets, and just enforce the rules. No short selling. Maybe make it physical only. I don't know, but just enforce the rules, and he can start the American engine of ingenuity and free markets again. But as long as these markets are controlled by the banks and the hedge funds, you're not going to see any regulation.
They just keep rolling the dice with everybody's money. They need to drag these people out, put them in jail. That's the statement.
So Shaughnessy just put out, Peter is saying that he read Kirsten, or is it Kristen? The guys in the hedge fund that short DJT were coming from Credit Suisse London branch, the same branch which broke Archegos Credit Suisse. And before that, they were Kerviel's bosses at Soc Gen.
Oh, God. These guys are, I used to hear that Deutsche Bank was one of the worst. They were just criminals there. It was the Wild West. They stole everything. Credit Suisse took that over. I mean, it's just remarkable. These are all foreign companies looting the U.S., just like Canaccord does. I don't understand it. We have boundaries, and it's just like, we protect everything. And here it is. These guys just steal our money, pension money, firemen, military, everybody.
Peter goes on to say, these crooks made Kerviel responsible alone for Soc Gen's $4.5 billion loss and then moved on, repeated it at Credit Suisse, and now they're in this hedge fund. Do you think this, no, how will this story end? In tears, I think. I tried to find out what Kerviel actually was trading at Societe Generale when they lost 4.5 billion. Apparently, they went with a $30 billion position short on the DAX. All I found out were huge short positions. Kerviel also claims that his bosses knew all the time what he was doing, but their greed was so strong, they motivated him to make even better bets. Sounds like Barings Bank all over again.
I remember that one.
Do away with FINRA, SEC makes the rules, DOJ enforces. I personally, you've got to make, to me, you've got to make it a career. You can sell your Rolodex once you retire at age 65 or 70, but for the bulk of your career, you can't swing out from the SEC into the law firms and into the hedge funds. They should stop all that. But the key is nobody's regulating. Everybody expects that somebody's looking out. No one is. And so that lie that somebody, you know, I talked to a CEO when I was up in New York. We were sitting having dinner and he was mapping out how this company was going to find the next huge gold discovery. And he's a really smart, honest guy. And I said, you know, they're going to short that stock. And his answer was, why would they let them do that? In other words, why would the regulators let them do that? Obviously, I went through a longer explanation. And that's how people feel. They believe there's actually somebody there regulating. There isn't. They come after CEOs, but that's just a distraction.
Just go look at Elon Musk. They distorted Tesla for years, try to put it out. And who did they investigate? Elon Musk. To me, Elon Musk is the greatest treasure we ever got in this country. He's brought innovation, everything. He just saved our astronauts in space. The guy's doing wonderful things.
Anyone who can have 13 kids without a divorce. It's pretty impressive.
And he's working to help us out, and people blame him for stealing. He's stealing our money. The guy's worth, I don't know, $300 billion, whatever the hell he is. I don't even know what the hell it is.
Maybe that's why that chick didn't want Johnny Depp anymore. That's a lot of money compared to Johnny Depp's $20 million.
Listen, he works hard. He may be a little weird, but the guy gets shit done. You know, I don't know what to tell people about that. You know, it's just the U.S. is wild. That we always go after. You know. All right, so GBUX, he just sent me a new snapshot. 393 OTCN, which is the over-the-counter market, another black box, is at 393 for 193. ASCM is at 394. And right behind them is AEXG. So they are just moving these people. It's like a chess game for them. They're just moving these people around, just trying to get people to bail out. That's all they're trying to do. And if I had money, I'd be buying it, but I don't have any money to buy right now. And Finger Motion, I assume, is in the same spot.
Yeah.
All in the same spot. And people say that Trump's gonna kick off Chinese companies. That's BS. And Finger Motion is a U.S. company that does business in China, just like Starbucks, McDonald's, Walmart. I'm sure Target's there. I don't remember seeing Target's. I've seen Walmart. And, Nike, all these companies, Apple. So they're not going to do that. They're just jockeying back and forth. That's all this is. That's all the game is. All right, as it's nothing going on, I'll just go about and do my thing, and we'll touch base later. And if I hear anything good, I'll let you know. All right.
Okay.
And if anyone has any ideas for a sign to abuse whoever you like me to abuse, I have no problem doing it, because they're all a disgrace and they're not doing anything. Each day that Trump doesn't do anything, someone is losing money. Someone's losing their life to brain cancer like Northwest Bio, or head and neck cancer to CVM, or whatever infectious disease CELU is working on. No one's doing anything to help these people. We have to do it. And guess what? It's going to help your family down the road, because guess what? People get sick, people get this, people get that, and we all need help, whatever it may be. So keep your head up, and we're going to get through this stuff. All right, William, I'll speak to you later. Have a good day.
All right. Thanks for stopping by.
You got
it. Looks like we have some action going on. Fast actin, tenactin. We have, let me just do this 146. We have NIXX at 146. Hang on 1 second. It's not fun. Okay. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Okay. So that frog, that toad, sorry, somebody just texted me. That is important. Done. That toad, it's very interesting. The toad refers to Moez Qasim. I'm seeing if there's anything worth reading on it. They get fined, nothing happens. It just drives you crazy. It drives you crazy. I'm on the website. Okay, go to home. I see. See that frog? That's Moez Qasim. He's a toad. And this article that Kristen put up, it says, I want to open it. Okay. So it says, this is what I think Gerald brought. Was it Gerald or was it Peter? Anyway, this title, Anson Funds Cybercrime Spree. I used to read like this. Then I took the Evelyn Wood speed reading course. So anyway, let's read a little bit of this from the Toad. Anson Funds Cybercrime Spree, hacking Twitter, Google, and Proton Mail. Many of you are already aware of the mountain of financial market crimes committed by Anson Funds, but lesser known is the fund's cybercrime division spree, designed to protect the firm from having its wrongdoing exposed. It's always the cover-up. This website has been under relentless. This is marketfrauds.to. This website has been under relentless high-intensity attacks directly sponsored by Anson Funds and those entities hired to silence us. Previously, we published a short note about this, detailing how Anson Funds has been attempting to recruit hackers on the dark web. That was back in 2022, and now things have taken even a darker turn, with outside firms and even Anson staff working with hackers on various dark web forums to hack Twitter, Proton Mail, and even to play with Google. When I read, sometimes I get ahead, screw up, so my wording is sometimes not exactly what was written, but I'm not trying to change any message being said. Moez Kassam, alternatively known as the Toad, has to try and take this site down, as it is difficult for Anson to continue to run its criminal enterprise in the bloody spotlight. Anson is much more effective working from the shadows, and because all of the noise surrounding the fund, and Kassam is desperate to change the narrative and have people believe they are a serious activist hedge fund rather than a seedy, shitty short fund. One of those words was my own. Anson's aggressive moves against Match Group and its parent company are an attempt to try to legitimize the group in the eyes, Anson Funds Group, in the eyes of the financial community following scandal after scandal. It sounds so much like international diplomacy and war in other parts of the world. The desperate hope is that this will draw attention away from the fact Anson is rolling on everyone, ratting, telling on everyone it has done business with in the past, especially the banks and the brokers. The Match Group board should be aware that Anson Funds play dirty. Anson will use private investigators to dig up dirt on each of you. Anson will have hackers try to gain access to your emails, phones, anything possibly containing damaging or compromising information on you. Be aware, be square, and prepare. A good overview of their cybercrime and capabilities are covered below. Anson has made a mistake, however, directly linked to Moez Kassam's miscalculations. Moez, aka the Toad, is notoriously cheap when it comes to paying people for their work. And we have learned that he has failed to compensate a number of hackers for their efforts to take down this website. These disgruntled hackers are now seeking revenge, most notably by sending over a number of their posts and conversations and more valuable information on communication with Anson-linked thugs. One of the hackers was kind enough to let us know who Anson Funds hired to spearhead these hacking efforts. So they put out on the dark web, the Toad put out I guess a classified ad. I'm looking for someone who has the utmost discretion and skills to access user database, then disable website. If needed, I will hire one for both tasks. The site I need these tasks completed on is a high traffic site, but is not a huge organization. We'll pay handsomely in Bitcoin for discretion and the completion of these tasks. Money is not an object. Prior to hiring, I will need you to provide an initial assessment answering the following question. Can you actually complete the task? Estimated time to complete, your confidence. My client will stop at nothing to complete these tasks and has endless funding and a grudge settle. So I can assure this will be very rewarding for the right person. You can't read it, but there's the post. And then there's one, we are looking for a group of hackers. We want to shut down the website marketfrauds.to, which is causing us a lot of damage in the business world. I am looking for a hacker, a group of hackers who can destroy market frauds to gain access to the website. I will pay a lot for whoever helps me. Thing is, the banks are in on this. So then stiff hackers contact market frauds. This is where it gets interesting. A number of hackers who took jobs with the Toad didn't get paid. Moez Kassam's first mistake after failure to pay the hackers was sloppiness during their communication. See, he's not scared because the big guys work with him. Moez Kassam's first mistake was sloppiness. The Toad made a number of these various dark forum posts and left his IP address unmasked. Branko Kojic is one of these people working for Anson Funds. He is located in Serbia and is connected to a law firm registered under his name. We believe Mr. Kojic was hired by Moez Kassam to do Anson's dirty work far from the shores of North America and beyond the reach of the U.S. authorities. Why bother? U.S. authorities don't do anything. Anson funds have been unsuccessful in hacking Twitter, so they are trying the next best thing, and that is gaming Twitter. What they are doing is taking various keywords and creating fake profiles which can contain both Anson and funds. These people have no followers and are not following anyone. They're designed to spam when people search. The purpose of this is to push all posts that mention Anson funds into a negative light, including the real ones. The best way to stop this is to continuously post about Anson funds on X. That's something each of us can do. Continue to post on X about Anson funds. He talks about proto mail. I'm going to skip it. Wow, they got up to 40 million bots at any one time. These are massive resources they are using. Here's the bots. I don't understand it. But they have, the Toad has a lot of money. And I'm sure he's backed. I'm sure he's backed by the big banks. I'm skipping. I don't want to bore you with it. I urgently require the assistance of an IT professional. We need to promptly take down the website www.marketfrauds.to. This website is spreading false information about our business, leading to numerous clients filing legal claims against us based on fabricated audio evidence from this site. They never stop. And this is the disclaimer that Market Frauds put out, and I'll read it just so, because I'm on the side of Market Frauds. Market Frauds said, just to be clear, Market Frauds has published facts and the truth, and all audio evidence is 100% authentic. Moez Kassem is desperate to have this evidence removed from the web. Hacking is a crime. And then he put it out again, the Toad. Please help. It doesn't matter how much it costs if someone can help me. My client requests the website www.marketfrauds.to be disabled. This website is endangering his business. Unbelievable. I wonder if this guy would come on and do an interview. He's probably doesn't. He's great. Marketfrauds.to. It goes on and on. There is over and over again. There's the Toad. All right, let's move on from the Toad. I've had enough of the Toad. I've had enough of the Toad. Maria, this is amazing. This 2 trillion. It's just amazing. Can you just stop for a minute? 2 trillion in gross derivative exposure. One hedge fund, Citadel, and it's the Treasury basis trade. So as it moves against, it puts the entire Treasury market at risk, and we're going to bail them out. He's a shit dude. Peter Sachs, I was doing some research and found interesting papers. Google securities settlement fails. I will do that later. When the regulators know it is organized crime, but it's also deception. There's enough legal about it. There's enough truth in there that good people don't have time to look. They can't believe it. Oh, you know, oh God, all right, let's do this. Okay, so last year, a gold company that I invested in over the years, publicly traded on, I'm not going to show you the name, but on a research report that came out on June 5, 2017, the company was trading at 17 cents a share. Now, I put in about I think close to $350,000, $400,000 over time myself into this company. But the private placements I did, the first one I did, I think, was at 65 cents, which then they reduced to 60 cents, if I remember correctly. And then the next one I did was at 45 cents. And then they did one somewhere around 20 cents, 25 cents. And I participated in those. And then I bought stock in the open market. And then I exercised warrants. So I ended up putting a lot into this company, Jeff. It is the basic broad brush. The gentleman who founded this company through a company that he created, he searched primarily North America. I think he considered other outposts, but he primarily searched North America. And he came up with two projects which were the best at that time. That was right around 2007, 2008, 2009, in that range. I'm an investor in both. In this one, I was a very good friend of mine who has now passed away, may he rest in peace. I was at a conference in Denver in, I believe, 2009, and he showed me the placement. We went outside of the conference, sat outside, and I said, "Man, that sounds great. But I don't have the money." And later that night, or the next day, I was having a conversation with the head of an advisory firm, a friend of mine, and one of the oil stocks I owned. He said, "Look, I don't want," because I was asking him about it. And he said, "Look, I don't want to get into any details, but I will let you know, I've seen the studies." So that oil company, I woke up early, called my broker at my old office, and I sold my shares in the oil company at a good price. It ended up going out of business. And that's how I made my first funding in this gold company. So anyway, they raised about And the two companies is the same investors, same basic story. North America, in the one case, it's above ground. In this case, it's sand, but you really don't have mining costs. It's at ground level, and it's nano gold. So the analog to this is the Carlin trend. The Carlin trend in Nevada was, I guess, discovered in the 60s, 50s. And one of the gentlemen, I may have this story slightly off in terms of which company he was with, but I think this guy, Dr. Bill Gill, worked at Newmont Mining. And this was the project he was pushing, the nano gold, invisible gold. You can't really see it. And the senior guys at Newmont wanted nothing to do with it. And so he apparently somehow used a part of the budget at Newmont, which was a penny stock, and actually moved forward with it anyway. And it worked. So then all the guys at the top of Newmont who had been negative, all of a sudden it was their project. They took credit for the project. Anyway, it turned Newmont into one of the world's greatest gold companies, NEM. And today, it also turned Nevada into one of the greatest gold provinces in the world. And today, some 60 years later, Newmont and Barrick Gold produce out of the Carlin trend. And they do it sort of a brutalist fashion. They use autoclaves to, under pressure, heat the sand, the resource. I mean, they don't just dig it up out of the ground. They process it and do some things. I've seen some of the processes. They seem very, very basic on the one hand. On the other hand, it's very hard to remember the steps and tell you what they're doing. But there is a more complicated process than just digging the sand up and throwing it into an autoclave. But anyway, they at what's called Gold Strike, Newmont and Barrick Gold together, combined operations, they process this invisible gold, nano gold, in 6 large autoclaves the size of submarines. And they recover gold at 0.033, something like that, ounces of gold per ton. And it's profitable. And it's a huge source of revenue. Their reserves are probably declining a little bit after all these years, but they're still at it. So anyway, our project is very near that. We're sort of west and south of that. And believe it or not, and now I'm going to put my rose-colored glasses, my optimism hat on, and just tell you our project is as big as Carlin Trend, potentially as big as Carlin Trend. Does it have? Look, I'm telling you, that's the glorious view. That's the upside. Obviously, there's many a slip between cup and lip, but I'll try to explain just now why that's not far-fetched. Using back from 2010, sort of 2011, 2012 range, something like that. um, using third-party drilling. It's called sonic drilling, and using third-party eyeballs. The company did a third-party assay and production test. Sorry, that's what they're going to do in this report. And they raised at that time in 2017, they raised money at 8 cents a share, by the way, 8 cents a share. So I'm not going to find it quickly where they say what they originally did, but I guess I can find it right here. There it is. Okay, so they discovered, the company discovered, now you got to understand, Jeff, that a guy who's a PhD, really smart, had started a gold company in California, soup to nuts, from an idea to a huge company with hundreds of employees, 164 or something like that, sold it and became fabulously wealthy while he was still young. A guy like this is going to go through this process, and he's going to believe everything he sees with good reason. He's done it. He knows how to do it. But outside groups are going to want to redo everything before they take this as gospel. So when he writes this, he says the company discovered 6.6 million ounces of gold somewhere around, he doesn't say that. Oh, here he does. 2009 to 2010. 2009, 2010. Now, nobody knows about this. It's off everybody's desk. There are no research analysts. Everyone was chasing NVIDIA the last 20 years, 15 years. I'm being, other things, but not gold or miners. So they discovered 6.6 million ounces of gold on 174 million tons of sand at 0.038 using caustic fusion assay. Now, there's a lot to do from that testing to go into production, but just taking it on the face of that, Jeff, if the company were just to sell what they have to Goldstrike, just sell it to Goldstrike. That's Newmont Mining and Barrick Gold. The process would have to be tailored to the Goldstrike autoclaves. The process would have to be reviewed and re-assayed and retested. But just taking this on its basis, 6,600,000 ounces of gold. Gold today is trading for $3,100 an ounce. The cost of this process, I don't know, so I'm going to assume, let's say it's $1,100. So there's $2,000 an ounce in profit. So it's $1.3 billion. Sorry, $13 billion. $13 billion in profit for Goldstrike. assuming the company doesn't raise any more money or very little more money, and we're just to sell it as is based on this initial discovery of 6.6 million ounces of gold, I'm gonna use 600 million shares outstanding. It's only about 400 million shares right now. That's $22 a share, Jeff. Now, would they pay that much? I don't know. Let's only take a third of that. 1/3 of that gives $7 a share. So Jeff, I go through this because you obviously, there's two things going on with you. One is things are happening in the market. It looks like Railtown might go, Finger might go, NIXX might go, GBUX might go. What's happening here? What's happening here? I want to know what's happening here. And we're all like that. I'm not making fun. I'm like that. But you got to, once you give money to a private company, and you know they debate that, but it's a private investment, you kind of roll with the punches. Everything takes longer. There's always uncontrollable delays. I don't know. Did you ever date a girl? Did it take longer than you thought to marry her? Did you ever build a house? Did it take longer than you thought to have it built? Did you ever have a plumber come in to fix a project? Did it take longer than they said it would? Did you ever have your house painted and the painter would never leave? Did you ever go for training somewhere and it was interrupted and it took 3 years instead of 1? Did you ever have a career interrupted by an illness? Did you ever get deployed somewhere and you were supposed to be back in 6 months and it got extended by another deployment? I don't know, Jeff. I don't know your life. But if you can come up with a time in your life everything went that involved a lot of decision making, a lot of people that ever went by schedule, tell me about it. So what I'm trying to tell you, Jeff, as is, this company as is, with the resources which were third party verified of 174 million tons of sand. Using a third party eyeballed off the shelf method, brutalist really, caustic fusion assay, they discovered, and I give you the caution, the guy doing it's going to believe that. The rest of the street's going to want to verify that. But discovered 6.6 million ounces of gold. I just ran through it with you because gold has, since the time I invested, gold has gone from $400 to $3,100 an ounce. The costs really haven't gone up. A logical buyer of the asset is Gold Strike. 160 miles away. So do you get stock in Barrick and Newmont? Is that the right price, $7 instead of $22? Or is it $3? Or is it $4? Let's call it $4. You paid 4 cents a share. Let's say it's $4. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. All right, that's how I see the value, the baseline value of the company. Basically, I see the baseline value with work, with probably a little more funding. And maybe a little time for Barrick and Newmont to look at it. I think the company's worth $4 a share in a sale right now to Barrick Gold. Am I wrong? Jeff, I'm not guaranteeing any of this. I've just been close to the company a long time. I know the players, and I believe the gold is there. But I mean, it is risk, and the risk is there's a flaw in my analysis, and instead of gold being there, I don't know. It's I don't know. It's leftover iron or something from eons ago. But so there's always a risk that we lose our money. But that to me is the baseline of your investment. $4. Without doing any more work. Without doing any more work. The work that would need to be done, knock, knock, knock. Hey, Barrick, here's our results. Will you come look at this? Are you interested? Well, we'll get back. Ring, ring. You said you were. It's going to be the marketing effort. But that's what I think it's worth right now, $4 a share. Obviously, the market doesn't agree with that. And the investors in the company are all, probably, they're all very wealthy, but they're all advanced in years, more advanced than I am even. And that's what gave us the opportunity to invest. Now, what's going on now? You want an update? I can't talk about it, but everybody asks. Everybody asks, so I will talk about it. The company without belaboring it, the company had a process that tens of millions of dollars were. They bought equipment, built a pilot plant, built the facilities, and went to start producing. And it was based, and I'm not a metallurgist, so I'm going to use my words, but it was based on, let's use the word chemistry. It was based on attraction. This is nano gold. So it's all based on attracting the gold, pulling the gold out of solution. Basically, like you would use a magnet to pull things around when you were a kid, little iron things. It's based on charges, positive and negative charges. Well, when they built it all out and all these things are standing on the ground, it turns out that the ground, the positive or negative standing of the earth interfered with the process, and there was no way around it. It was too powerful. So they a lot of frustration. The guy had to go back to the laboratory, and he's done apparently hundreds of tests. I'm just going from what I've read in the reports. I haven't witnessed those. And he's come out with a new process, two new processes. And these processes are much more physics, if I can use that word, instead of chemistry. The methodology is not based, and I'm not going to describe it any further because I don't know what part of it's super secret, but it's not based on the valences, if that's the correct word in chemistry. So anyway, the two methods he came up with are, he's named NMET and TPEC, and he gets 0.2 ounces of gold recovery over hundreds of tests, and he's got all the equipment, he's got it all set up. So your question, Jeff, is going to be, well, why don't we just sell it to Barrick Gold? Well, it's because the vision of this gentleman is to increase the grade from 0.038 ounces per ton, 0.038 ounces per ton recovered, to 0.2 ounces of gold recovered per ton. And he's done it. He's done it. So if you just use the 107, I'm not going to go further than that, but if you just use the 174 million ounces, tons of sand at 0.2, that's 34,800,000 ounces of gold. That's just 174 million tons. So it's 34,800,000 ounces of gold. It's a lot more. And by the way, the cost goes down with these are cheaper methodologies than what they do at Gold Strike. So probably your profit per ounce is 2,500 over time. So that's 87 billion with a B, 87 billion with a B profit potential over time. Now that to get there is going to be more shares outstanding. So I'll pick a number, try to be conservative. That's $108 a share, but I didn't discount it for time, and nobody's going to pay if they buy the company. Nobody's going to pay that full amount. So let's multiply it by just take a third of that. That's $36 a share, which is where I get my $40 a share. So the most conservative upside number I can give you is doing a pilot scale test using these one or both of these processes, which get 0.2 ounces of gold per ton, just on the 174 million tons of sand. And that changes, I'm going to use $40. So the way I see this is without expanding the resource downward, outward, in between, and without improving the recovery, for example, to include palladium, which is there. According to the report 5 years ago, 6 years, I guess, the palladium gives an equivalent of 0.35 ounces of gold per ton, just the palladium, 0.35. But let's ignore that. Let's ignore that, because I don't know the status of a process, but we'll ignore that. But so in other words, I'm ignoring expanding the sand resource to 2 billion tons or better. That's what they have, 2 billion or more. But I'm ignoring that. Just sticking with the third party 174 million tons. I'm also ignoring the potential to expand the recovery of gold or palladium or silver, which would expand the gold equivalent recovery. Just sticking at 0.20 that has worked in the laboratory over and over and over again. And I come up with $40 a share. So there's three numbers there. 0, I mean, it could all crap out. $4 if they just don't do anything and sell it to Barrick Gold, or $40 if the pilot plant gets up and running and they sell the company. Obviously, these are broad stroke estimates, but you got to start somewhere. Now, the other alternative, which I'm just not going to talk about right now for brevity, is the company could produce themselves, and the number's much, much higher than $40. I mean, it could go to $400 over time, but just ignore all that. They're not, everybody's old. They're probably going to sell it. So 0, $4, and $40 are the numbers. We paid 4 cents. So what's going on now? Roughly, the company raised somewhat under $500,000 last summer, and you participated in that. And I very gratefully was able to locate an investor who is quite keen to invest $5 million to finish this off. What is the $5 million for? The $5 million primarily is to rebuild the pilot plant, which was damaged by an earthquake. But the earthquake had a side benefit, apparently, of proving that the whole caldera where the sand is, that the sand, it runs deep, and the whole thing is full of, you know, as he's told me, it shook like a bowl of jelly. So it's an extensive, potentially even more extensive resource base. But it's so much there, we'll never live long enough to produce it. We'll leave that to whoever buys the company. The second use of the basically of the funds is to build out the pilot plant with new equipment and start producing, to my memory, 26,000 tons a day. Could have been 26 tons a day. It might just be 26 tons a day. Anyway, in any event, pilot plant, the goal is to produce enough tons per day to weigh the gold so that you have every day you're producing 0.2 ounces of gold per ton. The third use of the proceeds was to, you know, pay the overhead, maybe pay back some of the advances on the monies put forth to do all this testing. And then the fourth use of funds would just be for the all the sundry costs, like you know, I don't know, legal, SEC, environmental applications, you know, all that, just soup to nuts, getting the deal done. And I think there's a little buffer in there. There's probably, I think the buffer is probably as high as $750,000. I don't think they really needed more than around 4 million. But anyway, that 5 million, I had to negotiate, just like I negotiated for you and me. And I tried to get a better deal. I tried, and I tried. And I went at it, I went at it, I went at it, and went at it. And at the end of the day, the deal basically is identical. I can't think as I'm talking to you that there's any real difference between what you received and what this investor is going to receive. But what's great about it, what's absolutely magnificent about it, your deal, my deal, his deal, it's 1-to-1 warrant coverage, which is amazing. It's amazing. It's double the pleasure. It's double mint gum. So it's a good deal. Now, I didn't know at the time, Jeff Kahn, that receiving the money would take so long. There is no update that the company can give regarding that money. It's not in the company's control. I'm not going to give too much of an update on the money because it's not in my control. And frankly, it's not actually right now, and over the last period of months, the timing has not been in my investors' control at all. So it's been stressful. The delays are not some sort of scheme on the part of the company. They're not from a failure on the part of the company. In fact, the company's pissed off at me. The delays are my responsibility. My responsibility. Now, what did the company do in the fourth quarter? They raised $1 million on the same terms from a large investor, and they moved forward. They started the work on repairing and cleaning out the facility. They ordered the machines, and they paid some overhead. But it's tight because now we're in April. When we agreed the transaction, to my memory, it was October. I could be off, I'm going by memory. So it's been October, November, December, January, February, March, and now we're in the 6th month. There is no update that the company can give you because they have not done any pilot plant tests because they're not finished building out the plant, installing the machinery and the process. And let's go with the lower amount. They have not been able to process 26 tons a day. You can ask me this week. You can ask me last week. You can ask me next week. And that's going to be the same story. And it's not the company's fault. It is my fault. My fault. The money hasn't come in. Having said all that, I really do believe we're very close to ending this limbo. And I'm as excited about this investment as anything I've ever participated in. To me, Jeff, anything that makes it work at 6.6 million ounces of gold, firstly, I don't know if that's correct English, but firstly, they're going to increase the grade to 0.2 on just that third-party amount, approved amount. That goes to 35 million ounces of gold. I read to you the other day, and I'll read again and again. In fact, if I can, if it's right here, I'll read it right now. No, I'm not sure it was this book. Maybe it was. Yeah, here it is. According to Mike Maloney, in his book, here's the hard facts, Jeff. The number of large deposits in each decade from the 1970s through the 1900s, so over 3 decades from the 1970s to the 1990s, included at least one 50 million ounce deposit of gold and at least 10 30 million ounce deposits of gold. But since the year 2000, the gold industry has found zero, none, nada, 50 million ounce discoveries. They found no 40 million ounce discoveries. They found no 30 million ounce deposits anywhere in the world. So this century, they have not discovered any deposits of 50 million, 40 million, 30 million. And in fact, we're now finding just a few 15 million ounce deposits instead. And he goes on to point out it's becoming increasingly difficult to find a deposit of just 1 million ounces of gold. So this project, which to us who have been in it for 15 years or more, we believe, based on third party, it is a discovery. But to the industry, they're not aware of it now. So bear that in mind when I give you these numbers. Based on 2010 approximately time frame, based on third party, there's 6.6 million ounces of gold discovered then, but it wasn't announced or proven to the industry. So if it happens now, that'll be the number. But if this pilot plant, and it'll get into production, proves up just on that 174 million tons, it'll be 35 million at 0.20 ounces of gold recovery. It'll be 35 million ounces of gold just on that 174 million tons. Be 35 million ounces of gold. It should be the biggest discovery in North America, but it might be the biggest discovery of gold in the world. once that pilot plant is done. It will be easily one of the lowest cost gold recovery deposits to process. It's in North America. And it has a buyer just up the road. Now, my final point to you, Jeff, is that 174 million tons, if they drilled down to 400 feet, they can drill down to 800 feet. And then below that, there's brine, and then there's clay that can all be processed. That goes much deeper. But ignore the 600 feet, the 800 feet, and all the other. Just doubling from 200 feet to 400 feet. Drilling between the north zone and the south zone in an area that's bigger than both, and drilling outward. I mean, it could be bigger than this, but it could be 1.5 billion to 2 billion tons. It could be bigger than that. So if I mean, just for sake of easy arithmetic, let's say that it's between 1.5 billion tons and 2 billion tons. Let's say it's 1.74 billion tons, 1.74 billion tons. That's 10 times. That's 10 times the third-party verified 174 million tons from 15 years ago. So, in other words, if all they have is the brutalist methodology that was third-party verified at 0.038 ounces per ton, that would be 10 times 6.6 million ounces of gold. That would be 66 million ounces of gold. So one of the uses of the proceeds at some point is going to be to drill down to 400 feet, drill between, and drill outward to show that. Now, what if instead of using the 0.038, we use 0.20 times 1.74 billion tons of sand? You're looking at 10 times 35 million ounces. It's a big number. It's 350 million ounces. It almost makes you question, that's impossible. And it, fair enough. But these are blanket sands. They extend everywhere and downward. So to me, Jeff, anything that proves up on 174 million tons, it can prove up on 2 billion tons. So this project could be the single largest gold discovery in the world. But you want an update. The company continues to test, but they're just spinning their wheels because they've done these tests over and over again. They continue to work on the plant, and they've ordered all the material, but we're in a limbo waiting on the investment. And you can ask, please do, again next week, last week, the next week, and you can assume that I've forgotten about it, so you should keep reminding me about it. And you can also assume if there is news, I'm not going to tell you about it. So you should keep asking. Just assume that if the funding comes in, I'm not going to keep my word to you and hold a Zoom call with all the investors. Just assume all that. So keep asking. But it's not the normal way it's done, because when you invest in private placements, and particularly when one is still waiting for its final funding, there's not a lot of information flow. Also, at least how I am, I prefer to update when I have information rather than saying the same bullshit over and over and over again. I prefer to update with results rather than promises. That's how I am. I'm not here to hype or to create excitement or keep the waters roiled and throw chum in so the sharks are coming. And so I haven't talked about it, Jeff, because I've told you specifically, all of you, I can't talk about it. But every time you ask, I do talk about it because I feel like I owe it to you when you ask to answer your question. But you don't do me the kindness or the politeness of waiting until I'm allowed really to talk about it. You rather would do it in the open here rather than on a Zoom call. And I guess it's a lack of trust that I'm going to tell you when it's funded, or it's a lack of trust that I will tell you that for some reason it's not funded. But so I get that. It's just a trust issue. It's also the urgency of all these other stock transactions happening, and you got to know. But Jeff, I can't put things in writing. I can't make up information. There's really nothing I can do. Everything's in a holding pattern until the funding arrives. And that's just a fact. That hasn't changed now for months. And that's one of the risks of private investments. It's not unusual. I've gone through it before when funding is delayed. I've never gone through something quite as stressful or as painful as this delay. But I've gone through delays before. It's normal. Now, I just to finish out the cycle of outcomes, just to say, because I classify it as a risk, even though it's positive. The longer the funding is delayed, there may be, and I get in there, I keep everybody updated to give us the best chance of the maximum upside. But the longer it goes on, there is a risk. There was a buyer of the company about a year ago, who came in. He's a very wealthy guy, hardball. He came in hardball. He saw an opportunity to take this almost for free. On the other hand, maybe that's what he determined it was worth, because his business, without getting specific, is in the resource area. So he's got hundreds of millions of dollars that he can invest and know what he's getting back. Maybe he saw this as a little outside of his normal investments. I don't know. I haven't talked to him. But he made an offer to the company to buy the whole thing and take over the project, which would have meant no money up front, as I recall, no money up front to us. but it would have been through the production of gold, enough money coming to us that we would receive our money back plus a profit. And that was capped at 20 cents a share. So the offer he made is, I'm going to go in, I'm going to take care of everything, cover the costs, do everything, and I'm going to cram you guys down such that you get all of the revenues, or I guess it's the net revenues, capped at 20 cents a share. And I got to tell you, the risk was that the majority of people wanted to vote for that. They're all 80, 85, 87. They wanted to vote for that. There was enough anger and enough people like me saying, well, can't we do better than that? That it did get voted down. But that buyer, as I understand it, is still there, and he's willing to just come in and rescue the situation and cap out to us at 40 cents, not 20 cents, 40 cents. So, Jeff, the outcomes to me in this investment that you made are $0 a share, zero. That the company somehow, for some reason, the majority of shareholders vote for this other buyer. I'll fight it. I will fight it. But it'd be 40 cents in that scenario over time, probably just a couple of years, 3 years, get 40 cents back. I showed you the example, I think very conservatively, selling the company as is to Nextdoor, $4 a share, or just on this initial amount, proving it up, high grading it, and selling, JVing it, $40 a share, $40 a share. So 0, 40 cents, $4, $40. And I'll just throw it out there just while I'm doing it. I think there's a chance if the company produces itself and gold prices keep going up, that I'll just throw it out. I think it could be worth $400 a share over time. 20 years, $400 a share. You paid 4 cents. I negotiated a 1-for-1 warrant, so I think you doubled that pleasure. And I hope that the anticipation or the possibility, yes, in return for getting 0 or getting 40 cents, the exciting thing is $4, $40, $400. I hope that story gives you enough to think about, that you don't worry that you're missing these impossible to grab fireflies of short squeezes, and that you're missing out on the next GameStop. This investment is, in my opinion, bigger and better than any short squeeze out there. And as a private company, it is beholden to private investment. And there's nothing, Jeff, I can do to speed up the receipt of the funds. Nothing. There's nothing the investor can do. And so please ask about it again next week, because I'll forget to update you because this is not important to me. I'll forget all about it. I'm not going to keep my promise that once it's funded, I'll hold a conference call. Just keep asking, because obviously there'll be an update and I won't organize that call unless you keep asking every week, because I'm so scatterbrained. I'm just not going to bring it up to you. Or if there's bad news, I'm just not going to tell you. Or if there's good news, I'm going to keep it from you. Just keep asking. I mean, I understand the asking. I ask my investor almost every day, which I'm a pain in the ass too. It's just a waiting period. That's all it is. But I think the reward could be one of the most incredible experiences of your life. Or it's zero, I guess. My own view is anything that makes it worth $4 makes it worth $40 or $100. I don't know, but the risk is these older guys may just sell the company for 40 cents. I don't know why, it's irrational, but that's always a risk. And I guess another risk is Yellowstone Park erupts, or China launches missiles, or an asteroid hits the Earth. And it goes to zero. And I guess another risk, as ever in any investment, is there's fraud. People steal the money. I'm lying to you. The representations I've made have been incorrect. The company who you dealt with directly is lying to you. The analysts that have followed it over the years are in on. I've met this guy. I mean, he lives in a wealthy part of the country, but he lives very modestly. But maybe there's some big scam going on. Those, the investment could be zero. I don't think it's going to be zero, but I think talking about it, much like talking about GTII or MMTLP, or Vocal, or MULN or MMAT. I think talking about it, and I've just taken a long time to do it. I'll do this every time you ask me. I'm going to take a long time, because I don't want you to ever say I avoided the question. But I don't see how it helps anything, Jeff. I don't. I try to talk to you about ways we can make money now and make decisions now to make money. To me, this decision, we already made it. Ideally, the money would have come in October, November, and we'd already be producing gold and maybe already entered into a sale of the company. But I've been involved in so many things over my, depending on how you look at it, short or long time doing things like this. 6 months delay is not unusual. Not in something private and not in something big and all that. So with that, I probably lost the entire audience to answer that question. Jeff, without being I don't know, sarcastic, I don't know why you would think that if there's news that I wouldn't be telling you about it. I just saw you said 1 year. Can you talk about the little gold option to buy the extra shares we can get and deadlines at the 1 year point in the contract? You're making up the 1 year deadline. There's no deadline at 1 year. So 1 year would probably be June, I guess, July. There's no deadline. That's just your mind. But in terms of the maybe that small warrant, because there's also like a 4% warrant that you got. Maybe that had a 1 year maturity. I can't remember, but that's so insignificant. I'm not even thinking about that. The 1-for-1 warrant you got. Do you know what a warrant is? A warrant is a call option. A call option. What's a call option? Well, if you own Finger, you buy the stock. You can buy calls on Finger at $2 that mature in 3 months. What does that give you? That gives you the right to buy the stock of Finger at $2 for a 90-day period, and you pay a premium for that. What would a call option that had a 5-year maturity on Finger at $2 be worth? I don't know, but I bet it'd be expensive. I bet it'd be pretty darn expensive. A warrant is just a call option. So you have a warrant for every single share you own to buy one more share at 4 cents a share. You have a call. You can call one share for every share you own at 4 cents a share. There's no reason to do it now. No reason to risk money, because that call lasts for 5 years. So another 4.5 years. The only difference between a warrant and a call is that call options are traded, they're created on the option exchange, and the money's made by the exchange and by the traders and there's another word for the people that originate them, and by speculators, and money's lost. So in the case of, if you have a call on a $2 share price of Finger Motion and you exercise it, the $2 goes to the person who sold you the call. Doesn't go to the company. In the case of these warrants, if you do in fact exercise them, or probably what's likely, the company gets sold, and in the sale, the purchase includes those warrants. It's the same thing. In other words, if the company were purchased at $4 a share, they would pay you $4 for each share you own. You paid 4 cents. And they would pay $3.96 for each warrant you had, subject to negotiations. But that's what would happen. So it's not something to fret about. It's a bonus. It's very attractive. But the difference is if you do, for some reason, decide to exercise it, the money goes directly to the company rather than to a speculator or the options exchange. I'm excited about it, but it wears me out to be called out, basically, to talk about it. I made a promise to you, Jeff, and everybody, I'll restate it now, that once the funding comes in, I will have a closed Zoom call with all investors, and we can talk over what I know at that point. I will also, in all likelihood, arrange a trip for myself and maybe a couple other people to go out and visit the plant and the personnel. And then I may depending on where that is and what agreements I get and how friendly everybody is, I may organize a bit of a road trip so everybody can go out and see it. But what is the timeline, Jeff? The timeline, I think, is any day now to 90 days. So I just don't know. I'm in an unfortunate position where there is no way of knowing. But it could be tomorrow morning. It could be July 4th. But once the money comes in, let's assume it comes in on I don't know. Let's say it comes in June 15th. Based on what I understand, the company can build out the pilot plant and get everything going in about 90 days. I'm going to say, why don't we call it 6 months? Because everything always takes forever. So that's June, that's July, August, September, October, November, December. December 1. The company would be ready indoors. It's indoors, so the temperature doesn't matter, but it's also in the desert. So it's not like it's going to be freezing. At night it will be, but during the day. I'd say in December, they can start producing 26 tons of material a day. And I would expect that they would get the 0.2 ounces of gold per ton. And I would think the company would do that for a period of at least 3 months, maybe 6 months. Build out a white paper, build out a strategy, seek buyers, seek joint ventures, seek financing to do it themselves. But what I will tell you, on the first day that it works, the information will spread like wildfire. And there won't ever be a chance to invest again at these prices, of course. But I don't think anybody will keep that 0.20 secret. I will if I'm asked to. But if there's 20 guys working on it and they're at a bar somewhere, someone's going to overhear it. So it's a very exciting investment. But Jeff, please do not take the delays, the lack of information, the disappointment that you can't use your money to trade to win or to lose in other stocks as an indication that there's something wrong here. There's nothing wrong. It's just that I have failed to bring the $5 million I promised to the company and signed a document for. I failed to bring it in time. That's where we are. So I think I guess I just have the wrong idea. Maybe it's how years of being on the street, I just try to come in each day with what can we make money on now? And to me, um, uh, talking about a private deal that I've already funded, I'm so excited to be in it. But it doesn't help me do something today. It's like, what can I do about it? I can't do anything. What can I do about GBUX or NIXX or RLAIF? I can do that today. And I can get a new position there, but I can't do anything about that. I don't know. It's the same. I feel the same way when I have to talk about MMTLP or talk about GTII. It seems like it's energy that could be better used on what can we do today. And Jeff Kahn, I think in your case, mine too, by owning this, this is one step that you can take to be ready for all the changes who are coming, that are coming in our lives. But I don't think we have that much time to ruminate about an MMTLP or a GTII. We have to start acting. We have to start acting. And I just feel like when questions like this come up, when I've specifically asked everyone to wait until it's financed, and then I'll have a call, I just feel like I'm driving off into the slow lane or driving off into the ditch. It's not that I don't appreciate that you need to ask. It's not that I don't appreciate that, of course, it's of interest to you when time has gone by. It's not that, and that it's a lot of money. It's just, I don't see the point. And maybe that's, like I say, maybe that's just because I used to manage money, trade money, bring in new money, stay late to process trades, get in early to make phone calls. And rarely did I have time to go back over a deal that didn't work out 6 months ago. I had to focus on what we had to do that month. I don't know. Maybe it's something about me that's wrong. I don't know. But here, Jeff, I know it's my fault. I've talked about that now for an hour, and I haven't talked about what I think is more urgent. Let me just now, quote, okay, the market's closed. So NIXX, NIXX, closed at, I don't know. I don't know where it closed. Where it's trading is $1.46. I don't see the closing price. So in extended hours, NIXX is $1.46. Now, NIXX, unlike your investment in the gold company, I think NIXX has a chance to as soon as this week, but I would expect it would be maybe over the next 2 or 3 weeks. I think NIXX has a chance to run back to $6, $7, $8. That's something to focus on. And I am back. Look, it's high risk. It's high risk. I think NIXX might be the highest risk of these 4 companies. But I think NIXX is coming into the combat zone, the action zone, highway to the combat zone. Anyway, I think it's now for NIXX. I'm not talking about this week. Could be. Any of these could be any day. But I think NIXX sort of next week and the following week, basically by the end of the month, I think NIXX, all right, there's the closing price. It closed at 144, NIXX did, and it's now 151, up 7 cents, NIXX is. And I think you could, Jeff, I'd much rather, I didn't do it. I was going to do it. To give you the reasons I'm not going to, I'll do it tomorrow. But I think each and everybody who's still listening, I think you, Jeff, should consider, if you want to gamble a bit, I think NIXX could be at $1.50. There's a possibility, if it catches fire, it could be $15 in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Could be. We've been waiting on it a long time. I don't have any new information. I mean, I talk to people, I hear people's ideas and enthusiasms, but they've made the announcements, and NIXX has put out press releases describing exactly what they're doing. And we're waiting for the next shoe to drop. And I think we're running into that time frame where we're going to hear that next PR. So $1.51, I would give that 60% odds over the next 2 weeks that it's going to start grinding higher. And if it catches hold, I would give it, I mean, 60% that it starts moving. If it moves 50-50, that it can go to $15, $20. What I think about NIXX is, if the volume starts trading again at 60 million, 70 million shares, 100 million shares, for me, I'll probably just take whatever that price is. So in other words, if it goes to $7 and it's trading 100 million shares, I'll probably just say, I'll get out here. And if it goes to some high number, well, I'll be happy for whoever made that money. That's how I feel about NIXX. All right, so then GBUX, which we talked about a little bit with Ham, that's down. It's down. It closed down 70 cents, 0.6975 at $4.03. 40325 is where it closed. The volume, I think, was in line at 49 million shares. 49,000 shares. But in the aftermarket, it's up slightly at 405. GBUX, same story. GBUX made PRs, and we're waiting for the second shoe to drop. They did put out, and I was going to talk about that, but I'm not going to go through it because I just already imposed on your time. I can do it tomorrow. But they put out their 10K today. And, no big shakes. Big long thing. I mean, it's a nice, it looks like a legitimate story, of course. But GBUX 2, I think we're coming into a 2-week window where I would give GBUX probably a 75% odds that it's going to start churning and trading higher. And once it does, I would give it 75% odds that it could go to 20 or 25 or 30 or $40. Like Ham is saying, it could go to 100. The main reason I'm more optimistic with GBUX is I do believe that the whatever's going on in the shorting, it trades like, and it seems pretty obvious, and it's what Ham's saying, it seems like the shorts got caught here. And it was very recent. And I don't think they've had time to hire a White Diamond or hire a Frank Benedetto or find a CEO of another company to come in on Twitter with their banjo and sing a country song. I think they don't have any way out here. So in other words, it still fits my definition of being caught by surprise. It's getting a little long in the tooth, but that's why I give it higher percentages than NIXX. And I do think GBUX has a chance of giving you a nice reward. It's down at $4, $4.05. Of course, it's Wall Street, so the fact that it's down means you're not going to want to buy it. You're only going to want to buy it when it goes back to 8. I'm talking about myself. I'm not ridiculing you. I do the same thing. You saw me do it with MMTLP. You saw me do it with COSM. You saw me do a little bit of it with CRTD. But I think now is a good time for speculative commitments. These are all speculative, high-risk situations. I think at $4, the risk reward on GBUX is a nice bucks to be in. Finger at $1.30. I'm going to look at a chart of Finger. I'm a little nervous on Finger being under $1.41. But let me see if that's really something to worry about. Well, to me, there is a way of reading the Finger chart that it's broken down and it's negative. There is a way to read it that way. On the other hand, okay. So there's one way to read it that it's broken down a bit, and it doesn't look great. I'll try to draw a chart for tomorrow and show my reasoning. On the other hand, an additional sort of negative thing. Finger is under resistance now. It's not on support. It's under resistance. And that's, it's not the best place to be. Okay. Now, on the other hand, I think you can read this chart that Finger has, to contradict what I just said, has broken a slightly above one resistance line and is in the process, possibly, of breaking above another. So my overall read on Finger right here is a slightly neutral. But if I had money, I think I would buy Finger. I would acknowledge that if you come in at $1.30, that it's possible they get it back down to $1.20, $1.10. Anything can happen, maybe lower in a spike or something. So if you're comfortable with that, I think if Finger breaks above $1.36 and then $1.50, $1.41, $1.50, all of that clutter in there, and gets up to $1.60, it has a good chance of breaking $1.75. And then this thing keeps moving. I think $2, $2.40 are achievable. And I would have you know, a short-term target of that 260 range, and then we can work from there. So I think you can double your money in finger, and if I've seen many times in finger that with this kind of pattern and it breaks out, that it can go on a run. So I'm not negative on finger. I'm just a tiny bit neutral in the short run. My timing on finger would be 6 weeks. 6 weeks. So sort of June 1. So if I'm prioritizing new commitments, I guess based on what I've just given you so far, I would go GBUX and NIXX I'd go GBUX because I think it could be soonest, and it's slightly less risky of a squeeze than NIXX because it's never really had that high volume before and stopped. On the other hand, GBUX has a really high market cap, and so it's high risk, but I think GBUX is a now type investment for seeing what happens over the next 2 or 3 weeks. NIXX, I feel the same way. NIXX, I think, is a little riskier because NIXX already tried to gun the engine twice before. This will be a third time. To mix analogies, you know, it could be third strike, you're out, or it could be a grand slam. But now's the time, I think, and the same sort of time frame. I think NIXX might maybe realistically could take a week or more before news drops, as you guys call it. But both of these could be any day, and I think they could start moving over the next 3 weeks. In NIXX's case, maybe a little longer. But I would want to be in them now because you never know what could happen. Markets used to be they happen more quickly than projections. Okay, now let me go to the last one, and the one I think you should be really thinking about. Today, Railtown, RLAIF, closed up 3 cents, 3.66 cents. It closed up 13%. It closed at 31.16, and that's where it is in the extended hours. The volume was 200,000 shares in the United States, and that's double the average volume. There's no news that I see, but that price action in Railtown, earlier in the day, it was bouncing around and spoofing around and doing all this crap. All of a sudden, it gained purchase and it went up. To me, the price action is telling you something's up. The price action in Railtown is telling you. Now, of course, if you're like most human beings, you didn't buy it when it was 25 cents or 26 cents or 27 cents or 28 cents or 29 cents or 30 cents. But tomorrow you might have a chance to buy it at 31 cents, but it might be 32 cents, it might be 33 cents, it might be 35 cents. But let me reiterate with Railtown, they've announced everything. It's in all the news stories. But Railtown went from a R&D company with no revenues to a company that was hawking its wares to bring in revenues in a huge market with the first mover best product. And they ran into it, they stumbled across a company that they bought. It's announced. So we're waiting for that shoe to drop. It's been almost 9 weeks. 8.5 weeks. The stock price today is telling me they're about to announce something. I have no information. I try to get information. No one even returns my phone calls. But the stock price to me is telling me that transaction is going to be, the second shoe's going to drop. Where do I think Railtown could go? I mean, I think the first stall point might be $1.20, but where I think it could go, I think you can get 10 times your money. How soon? I mean, almost immediately. I would say if some announcement were to come, let's say tomorrow or Monday, let's say Monday, an announcement comes Monday, I think by the end of so on those 4 stocks, And I'm not trying to ignore ZJYL or GDC. I just think those are on the back burner. On the four stocks, Railtown, RLAIF, GBUX, GBUX, NIXXY, NIXX, Finger Motion, FNGR. My priorities, if I had money tomorrow to do something, even though Railtown is up today, I'd buy Railtown first. We didn't buy it while it was down, but I would buy this. The price action is telling me something is up. Somebody knows something. I don't know anything. Now, the risk is when you buy as it goes up, it can hit an air pocket. So if you're uncomfortable adding a new position 100%, maybe buy half in the morning. In other words, if it opens at 32 cents, buy half tomorrow in the morning. If it goes, let's make it up, it goes to 40 cents, buy the other half at 40. Your average would be 36 cents. So you're doing better than the 40. It's not great. Or if you buy half at 32 and it goes down to 29, buy the other half at 29, and then you have an average below the market. Either way, you're getting an average, you hope, below the market once it starts to run a little bit. RLAIF is the one I would allocate money to first. It's not financial advice. I don't know your own situation. But I think Railtown, the price action, I wouldn't want to be out of it. If something happens over the next week or two, I think Railtown can give you 10x. It's not a promise. It's just a projection. Trade it whatever way you want. So that's almost immediate. I think that's a great trade. The second one I would buy if I had new money would be GBUX. GBUX is risky because its market cap is so high. GBUX is risky because it's under attack by shorts. GBUX is risky because there seems to be a lot of, Middle East here, gold company. There's a lot of parts, a little bit of uncertainty. On the other hand, GBUX has said what they're going to do. We're just waiting for the second shoe to drop. Once the second shoe drops, if it does, that's going to bring a lot of clarity. And I think GBUX, unique in all of the stories I've seen for a long time, might just be one where shorts are trapped. And I'm willing to see, this is hypothetical for me, of course, but I own a little bit. But I'm willing to, if I had money, I'd be willing to see what's going to happen in GBUX. Timing, I think it could be any day to I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks. How high? I think GBUX certainly has a shot of going to the $8, $10, $12 range it has before. But I think GBUX can do what Ham said. I think GBUX can go $40 to $60. Ham said that at one point. And then more recently, Ham said it could go over 100. I think GBUX is a legitimate swing at the fence to participate in a short squeeze. But it's risky. These are all risky. Railtown, I don't see as much risk, but GBUX is risky. But I think it's more immediate than, possibly more immediate than NIXXY. But NIXXY might have, the way things go, NIXXY might have their second shoe drop almost simultaneously. And I think NIXXY could be any day now too, although I'm more inclined, that's why I put it third, I'm more inclined to think it might be next week or the following week. NIXXY is, the good thing is NIXXY is a low market cap. NIXX's put its whole plan out there in PR, and you got to get a new press release to see the finalization. One negative is NIXX did have high volume days twice before, so that implies to me that there is some short activity to protect themselves, obviously, and it's worked twice before. The shorts effectively stopped the stock from really getting out of control. So NIXX, I think there's a risk the shorts might get it to go to 6, 8, 10, and then it fizzles out. On the other hand, from the information they've put out, it's possible that the upside will draw buyers, and that I'm almost certain NIXX will have a lot of volume one more time, because I don't think that spent itself out the last 2 times. So there is a chance NIXX grabs the road and shoots on down the highway. How high can NIXX go? Like I say, it might be only 4, 5, 6, 7, but I think it has a chance to go to $15, $20, $25. NIXX does. That's a nice trade, and I think that's almost immediate. And then FNGR, I think FNGR isn't quite as urgent, but the problem is everybody's playing FNGR. Everybody's talking about it. So good news will filter into that price of that stock, and all of a sudden it'll be $1.80, $2, and you go, shoot, I wish I had bought some. So FNGR is 4th on my list, but I'm not saying you should sleep on it. I do think any news that's going to move FNGR is probably 2 to 6 weeks away. So, but that's just a pure guess. So anyway, those are my stocks. Now this is interesting. That's interesting. There's an article about the equity markets being in the most bearish position for years. That's the thing. I might be wrong in my call. I'm not changing my call yet. I'll save all that for tomorrow. I've worn out your patience probably. All right, there's no real news there. Sorry, I'm just seeing if there's anything interesting to finish off on. All right, I'll read this one, and then I'm going to sign off. This is Adam Sharp, April 15th, an article entitled Tech Bros versus Gold Bugs. Tech Bros versus Gold Bugs. I like the headline. For the past, because this is what's going on. You're getting out of the NVIDIA trade and going into the miners. For the past few years, the world has been infected with a common strain of tech stock fever, Symptoms included buying stocks at 50 times revenue, 50x revenue, chasing a handful of big names to ridiculous prices, and believing the bull market could last forever. This particular strain of tech mania has been around for centuries. Railway mania in England and the United States, electricity and telephone boom in the United States, internet boom and bubble in the United States. They left out the tulip bubble in Holland. Technological innovations change, but human behavior never does. It starts out with real tech breakthroughs and evolves into a raging, out-of-control mania. Only the strongest companies survive, and even those almost always crash hard towards the end of the bull market. The current bubble in tech stock prices has gotten so extreme that the so-called Magnificent Seven, Apple, NVIDIA, Alphabet, Meta, Tesla, Microsoft, and Amazon, were near the peak, worth a remarkable 62% of US GDP. I'll try to show you that chart tomorrow. But those 7 stocks are 62% of US GDP. He says it's almost certain that we've witnessed the peak in tech for this cycle. See, I'm going to stick by it. I still think we're going to have this blow off top. And just remember these cautions when we get there. But I could be wrong. It's feeling uncomfortable sticking with my call. For those savvy enough to take profits, where should they shift their capital now? And one thing I recommended, I don't know, it was based on Jim Rickard's portfolio recommendations, and I think it was maybe 3 or 4 months ago. I think it was December, maybe November. But the idea was you could, or maybe it was January, you could sell a tenth of your NVIDIA and buy the exact number of shares in Intel. And I still think, even though NVIDIA is down, I think you could buy Intel as if you want to be in tech, as a way to participate in any kind of rally. But I think there's less risk on the downside. Anyway, a new fever for gold. The world is changing. What has worked best over the last 15 years, tech, is unlikely to repeat over the next decade. A debt crisis nears. Here in the United States, President Trump and Elon Musk seem to be hitting a wall when it comes to cutting spending. They are making a valiant effort, but the swamp has robust defenses. Additionally, President Trump has backed off his idea of cutting military spending by 50% and now plans to increase it. Even if the U.S. balanced its budget this year, which it will not, we'd still have more than $36 trillion in debt, which will cost more than $1 trillion of annual interest expense. These costs will compound higher rapidly from here. A recession is a near certainty at this point, and this will strain government budgets further. QE, stimulus checks, tax cuts, money printing are all in the cards. And don't forget the off-balance sheet liabilities. Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. Estimates for these liabilities range as high as $150 trillion over the next 50 years. You can't even comprehend that amount of money. As a result, a rotation toward precious metals has begun. Gold is flying higher, and you've known about this for a long time, and miners are finally starting to catch up. All right, I'll read the rest of that tomorrow. My voice is going, so I'll try to go down the questions, and then I'll sign off. Hey, Barbara, sorry I bored you, but thanks for listening. Bye, Lion. Has anybody got information on the finger divvy? Yep, I got information. I'm the only one that knows it. The dividend will come out after the annual report is announced, and they will get approval immediately. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Apparently, if you listen to him, Martin is telling people that after the 10K comes out around June 1, they are going to refile the dividend. When you refile the dividend, you make a press release, but you also, it has to go through a process with the SEC. There'll be questions, there'll be back and forth. So there'll be time that goes by before the SEC gives it its approval. Once the SEC gives its approval, there'll be 10 days that the company has to give you notice before a record date, and then there'll be the record date. So I would imagine the whole process, as I've said before on the dividend, likely will be August, September, October. So there you go. I agree with you. If GBUX goes up, that's the other thing, Benjamin. I think people will take profits and buy finger. I know if my little position, I'll probably, I don't know. It depends. It depends on prices, I suppose, and how it flows. But I'd like to buy some finger and have it my position back. Hey, Babcock, most concerned about the warrants work. Here's warrants. A warrant is a long-term call. So a warrant gives you the right to buy the stock, in this case, at 4 cents a share for 5 years. Let's say 6 months have already gone by. So it gives you the right to buy the stock for 4.5 more years at 4 cents a share. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to worry about exercising them. You don't have to worry about a 1-year maturity, a 2-year maturity, a 3-year maturity, a 4-year maturity. 5 years. So you don't have to do anything. If the stock starts trading again, for some reason, I mean, it's a possibility, and let's say the stock goes to $10, I'm making it up, then you may indeed wish to exercise your warrants, call stock from the company at 4 cents, and have an asset in your account, I'm making the number up, at $10. But we're nowhere near that point now, and you have all of 5 years to get involved in that. After the first 6 months have gone by, my understanding, there's always surprises, but my understanding is when you exercise the warrants now, it'll be shares without a legend, free to trade shares. You'll get free to trade shares. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not subject to what the company does. So you have 5 years for that. The other thing is, the only other thing you need to think about is, what if the company sells or is purchased or does a JV, any kind of merger and acquisition activity of the company over the next 5 years, the calculation will automatically include your fully exercised warrants. It will assume that you exercised your warrants at 4 cents. So you don't have to do anything on that either. There's nothing to do. Nothing. There's no need to file anything. There's no need to sign anything. There's no need to convert anything. There's nothing over the next 5 years unless the stock starts trading again and it's up and you want to exercise to take a profit or just own the shares. There'll be time for that. There'll be plenty of time. You don't have to worry about it now. If the company gets bought out, it'll all be in the calculation. You'll probably have to sign some papers, but there's nothing to do. You don't have to worry about it. And if the company, for some reason, stays private and it does a joint venture or it finances its own growth, well, at some point toward the end of the 5 years, you'll want to exercise them. There's just nothing to do or worry about, it's a nice little gift. It's a nice little, that's what a warrant is. A warrant is a long-term call option where the money goes to the company instead of to the option market. And like a call option, you don't have to do anything with it as long as the maturity is alive. I don't think GBUX trades before or after the market. Let me look. Well, today it did, but then it stopped. So Augustine, it's almost like what they did is they had some trades to reconcile and they printed those. So they closed it down. It's stock manipulation. And then they processed some buy orders or better orders after the close, and then it stopped trading. Unbelievable. It's all manipulated. It's all manipulated. All right. I'm going to sign off because I think I bored everyone to tears, and we'll catch you tomorrow. I really think on all 4 stocks, if I had to list it, I'd go Railtown first, GBUX second, NIXX third, Finger fourth, but it's not because any one of them is worse than the other. It's just trying to balance risk reward, price reward with urgency and timing. That's how I see it. So anyway, thanks for being here. And let's pray for Robert Weiss. Let's pray for the soul of Ham's nephew and his sister, family. Pray for Jenny L. Pray for peace in the world, and we'll talk tomorrow.